Hello, my friends. Hello, welcome. I am Cora for those of you who have yet to meet me. Today, I'm coming on to talk about what recovery really means, what recovery is, and what it is not. And we are going to talk about what your markers of real success can be as you go through your recovery journey. So if you are someone who has maybe felt defeated, discouraged, frustrated, or down on yourself through your journey of recovery as you have fought to get to a place of recovery, or if you are someone who is currently grasping on to the idea of a target weight. If you are holding on to a number in your head as a target weight that has perhaps been set out for you or given to you, and you are grasping tightly onto that number as a marker of recovery or somewhere that you will need to get to, or if you have thoughts that you cannot go over that number, then this is a discussion specifically or most importantly for you. At the end of this video, I really want you to leave a comment and let me know what your definition of recovery is. I would love to know what recovery will mean to you and what your markers of success are going to be for your recovery. Okay, so let's get into it. So I feel like there are often some assumptions or some expectations about recovery when someone embarks or when someone chooses to start seeking help or have support to go through their recovery journey. And the thing about some of these assumptions or these expectations is they can often lead to only doing a surface level layer of work. And when only a surface level of work is done, then the true deeper healing is not done. Now, the work that is the truer, deeper healing, it takes more time, but it is also what is going to last a sustainable change, that is going to have a real actual shift inside that can last throughout the rest of your life. The surface level stuff can only maybe really be short-lived. Which is why sometimes at the end of a treatment or recovery method, you can feel like you go right back where you started. So I often hear from my clients, what's going to happen after this amount of time, or how recovered am I going to be after X weeks or X months? And it's time that we start letting go of some of those expectations, because recovery is about a lot more than the things that maybe just be in your head. So let's get to what recovery is not, and instead what it actually is more about. So recovery is not about simply reaching a target weight. Now, for those of you who aren't sure what I'm talking about, a target weight is perhaps a number that has been given out by your medical professional or treatment team as a weight to shoot for and reach. And while I see that is necessary in some circumstances in the medical field, and it can be beneficial in some ways, I believe that we need to start letting go of this idea of target weight. Because recovery is not just about the physical. And if you are someone who is grasping on to this idea of a target weight that you've been given or that you have inside yourself as something that is finite and that you cannot go over, then that is the mindset that we need to heal. That mindset of grasping onto a number and seeing a number as something that you need to reach and that you cannot go over, that is the exact mindset that we need to recover. And letting go of that mindset is success in recovery. So rather than reaching a target weight as a sign of recovery success, recovery is about letting go of the idea of a target weight. Recovery is about letting go of a grasping on to numbers and a worrying about numbers and letting go of letting numbers rule your life. So recovery, not about reaching target weight, but letting go of the idea of target weight. Recovery is also not about the disappearance of thoughts or the disappearance of urges. So often my clients will say, okay, so I'm doing all these things differently and I'm proud of that, but I still have these thoughts. The thoughts are going to be there longer than it takes for the behaviors to change. The behaviors will change first and the thoughts will still be there. The thoughts may still be there for a long time. As a human being, you are always going to have thoughts that you have to contend with. Recovery is not about getting rid of the urges you currently feel, but rather recovery is about learning how to not follow those urges. Recovery is learning the skills and the tools to not follow the thoughts that you are having. Because again, the thoughts may be there. It is about learning to recognize the thoughts, to start to understand why they're there. What is their purpose? What is that thought trying to tell me? And then learning how to not follow or engage with that thought. Recovery is also not about no longer being scared. So I often have clients who expect maybe that, the fears are going to just be gone at the end of recovery. That may not be the case. Again, as a human being, you are going to have fears. Fear is going to be there. You may still be fearful of some things, but recovery is about choosing your actions despite fear. Recovery is about knowing what you need and what you want and making your choices despite fear still being there. Recovery is not about just healing physically, as I've said. Recovery is not about just the physical behaviors and not about just doing what you're told and eating what you're told to eat. Recovery is about healing all parts of you. And recovery is about learning your worth and knowing why you deserve to have that nourishment. It is knowing inside yourself why you need to have those foods. That you're not just eating it because someone's telling you to. It's knowing that you deserve that nourishment and knowing your worth. Lastly, on that line, recovery is not about loving your new body. It's not about getting to this place where all of a sudden you're just super confident about your body and you love it. Your healthy for you body that you've reached. No. Recovery is about learning that your body is simply an instrument that carries you through life. Your body is just a carrier that lets you do the things you want to do. It carries you through your hopes and dreams and your career goals, and it's just this instrument that lets you show your personality. So recovery isn't about having to love your body. It's about knowing that you are worth more than the appearance of your body, and that your body is a neutral thing, that it's just a body. So those are some of the things that recovery, true recovery, is about. Now, let's talk about markers of success then in your recovery journey. So like I've touched on, rather than having a number that you're reaching for as this place that you will be recovered, doesn't work like that. To tell you a little bit more about my story, actually, I thought all these things, okay? So when I reached my target weight that I was given, I was like, done, great, recovered, see you later, guys, I'm done. And guess what? I returned to where I was within days because I hadn't done any of these other things, these other bits of the recovery work. So rather than that being your marker of success, what else can be your markers of success along your journey or signs of recovery? So here are some examples for you. Restricting becomes less pleasurable. You just start to realize you're not taking as much pleasure out of it. Anxiety before a meal starts to decrease. you find that you start randomly just saying yes to invites. Without even thinking about it, you realize that maybe you said yes to a lunch invite or yes to a coffee date that is at a random time. Maybe you just start to feel more ease about rest. You kind of start to feel okay about sitting on the couch and a lessened desire to get up and move. Maybe you find you start to have the ability to fluff off when something doesn't happen perfectly, or to kind of be okay when your plans get messed up. You start to notice that you're more okay with that. You start to notice that you have a less intense fear of weight gain. And I know I've said this before and it's ironic, but the further you get in recovery and the healthier you become, that fear of weight gain does lessen. And the idea of weight gain just starts to be less of a thing. How about you notice that you start to have a less desire to spend time looking at food or recipe books or scrolling through blogs or scrolling Instagram on the food pages. You start to realize that that is really not as interesting to you anymore. And you start to realize that you have a greater sense of overall calm, more grounding. So let those be your markers of success. Let those be signs of recovery, because those are signs that you are returning to you and that your body is coming back to a healthier place. Let those be your markers of success, rather than any physical changes or any target weights or any numbers. And the other thing about this is this means only you know your level of struggle, and only you know your level of recovery. Recovery cannot be seen from the outside, my friend. Disordered eating, eating disorders, mental health cannot be seen from the outside. No one knows your level of struggle but you. No one can see the guilt and the spinning and the fears and the sadness and the ruminating that you have to go through but you. And that means only you can know your markers of success, and only you will know when your recovery is happening or when it's there. Your recovery is not dictated by a number or physical changes. And it's not dictated by what anyone else can see or what anyone else says or even what anyone else is saying that you need to do or stop doing. Only you know. And that's what matters. That is what matters. So let me know in the comments, what is your definition of recovery? Maybe this can help you. Recovery, so fill in this thought. Recovery is a place where what? And with that, let me know what some of your markers of success are going to be. What are your markers of success throughout this journey that you're going to look out for and that you can be excited for? What are you excited for about recovering? Okay, let me know if you have any questions. If you are even thinking about starting to have support in this journey of recovery and having someone with you, beside you, supporting you through recovery, drop me a message. If you want to learn some of these strategies and tools to not follow those thoughts, if you want to start working on strengthening that worth so that you can get to a real place of healing, send me a message. I would love to support you on this journey. Bye, friends.